What's up, disciplined investor?
We got Benzinga CEO Jason Raznick here with us.
The man, the myth, the legend, Tom Nash.
Peter Schiff on the Power Hour with us live today. Interesting, different, unique, innovative companies. Mia, you are live with us on the Power Hour. What's up?
Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Jessica Billingsley, that is the CEO of Akerna, the best trade idea resource out there.
What is up, Zinger Nation? We have a packed show today. As always, joining us in a couple of minutes will be Frank Curzio from Wall Street Unplugged. We're going to knock out some trade ideas, check out some stocks. After that, we have Golden Matrix CEO Brian Goodman joining us to talk about some breaking news the company released this morning. And then after that, we got Options Mike coming on and talk some options. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring Frank on. And we're gonna get straight to the trade ideas. Frank, how we doing?
Good. How's it going? How's everything?
Good, good. You had a nice vacation last week?
Very nice vacation, very needed vacation, and now happy to know that the kids are back in school, just like every other parent.
There you go. So tell me what's on your radar today.
There's a couple of stocks, right? We just went through earnings season, and you get to see a lot of what companies are doing, what they're predicted for the future. One company that took a giant leap forward is one that I gave to you probably the first week, maybe I said about a month and a half ago when I was on the show, and that's WRAP. So symbol WRAP, and they have the BOLA device, which is something that, I follow this company for a while. I actually got shot by this device. And it's an alternative to a taser. It's much, much safer. And the progress this company has made over the past 2 years have been incredible, to the point where they had nobody using this device at all. Now they have, it went, just put in perspective, about 5 months ago, they had about 125 police departments, law enforcement agencies using this product, testing the product. Now they have over 800. They just came out with their quarterly earnings, and the negative part of this is, it's a $300 million plus market cap. We want to see revenues. I was in Taser for a long time. I followed that trend for a very long time, from the single digits when it changed the name to Axon, and how this process goes. It goes by police stations have to be testing this device. Once they test it and you get through that process, then the orders are coming in. They just received their biggest order to date, which is about 1,500 bowler wraps and accessories. It was an international order. Internationally, it's a lot easier, less bureaucracy in terms of getting through the police department, getting orders, but they're starting to get tons of orders. If you look at their website as well, as you're starting to see wraps get filmed through cameras like crazy, and it's just showing how, listen, no cop wants to pull out their gun and shoot somebody. Nothing happens. Nothing's good. You look at both sides on a political aisle, agree. This product is very, very hot right now. It's people, the politicians are talking about it a lot. And the fact that we went from less than 400 agencies tested to over 800 in this quarter, and you're seeing these orders come in. This is the stage right now. This is the inflection point where you're going to start to see orders come in. They're starting to come in, and more people are getting familiar with this device, where I wouldn't be surprised in about 2 to 3 years, you see this on the majority of the belted police officers around the country and around the world.
So this is kind of, as you said, a taser competitor, but you think the product is a little bit better than tasers.
Well, the thing is, this is a non-lethal product. Taser is a less than lethal product. So taser, when you pull out your taser, and this is mostly used for, people who have mental problems. And that's a lot of people out there when it comes to police calls, where 1 in 4 in New York are mentally problems about mental people, where, they would just come out, they'll charge a police officer and some of them use their taser. If that results in somebody dying, that's an automatic huge lawsuit for the police department. Not only that, when you take out the bowler wrap, you're wrapping a person up. I got wrapped by this. It shoots like a gun. It sounds like a gun. It stuns you. And before you know it, you're wrapped up and police are jumping on you. And what do you have? You have something that's safe, much, much safer. You never want to see anyone get killed. Sometimes police officers are put in that situation. This removes that situation. This helps everyone. And if you want to see exactly what I'm talking about, just go to the website, because now it went from, a few of these wraps going on camera to hundreds of them. And you're going to see why that this device is going to really, really start selling. And police officers, police law enforcement officials are really going to stop buying this thing.
So how did you get shot by one? Did you know someone at the company?
Yeah, I know the executive chairman who was backing this company, who talked to me about it, and I loved it. I loved the story, and I went to his apartment, which was a penthouse apartment in New York City, And I also interviewed several chiefs of police, including the chief of police. And I did this whole entire thing on it where it got to me emotionally because I saw the police where it wasn't, hey, we're going to make money off this thing. They were in the field for 30 years and they knew if they had this device, it would have resulted in fewer deaths, fewer injuries. And just that's what really, really convinced me where, wow, this is much, much deeper than just a stock and much, much deeper than making money on it, which we all want to do. And that's why I'm on the show. But when you see a product that actually saves lives, that actually makes sense, it checks off all the boxes. Both sides want it. Democrats, Republicans are lobbying it. You know, the president heard of it. He's mentioned it before. Trump has mentioned it before. You're going to see this product rolled out a lot more, but just getting shot by that device being one of the first, which the executive chairman told me you were probably crazy to get shot by the device then because it was their first edition, but we got it on camera. Is really cool. You can see that on our website at curzioresearch.com. But yeah, I'm very familiar with the product, but now they definitely had an inflection point, and I think now is a great time to buy.
Yeah, we got Tony Toledo in the chat saying if it really works, looks great. Looks like it would certainly help the cops. So yeah, I like the story here. The chart, I'm looking, it looks like we were bouncing off this support of about $5 for a while, for a few months. And now we broke out all the way up to near $10. It came down and now it's up at this $8 level. So
and this level here that you're seeing too, that's moved up on, it's moved up on news, right? Which is great to see. It's, you know, the quarter came out, it, you know, sold off a little bit and then went up the same day, you know, it's just people said, hey, this is a great buying opportunity. That was the number to me. Every company has a number. I mean, if you're looking at Disney today, it's going to report. It's a subscriber number everybody wants to see, right? It's not necessarily earnings because their earnings in Disney aren't going to go back to pre-COVID levels until 2023, one of the few consumer companies in the S&P 500. But that's the number you want to look at. You know, it just there's different numbers to look at what it is. It could be as simple as earnings and whatever. For RAP, the number you want to look at is the number of police departments that have this, that are using it, that are testing it, because that's going to lead to more and more orders. And that number went up tremendously this quarter, which is going to lead to more orders, and it already has. And that's why you're seeing this thing start to ramp higher.
Got it. And then NCal is asking a good question in the chat. Could this be a potential buyout for Taser?
It's funny you say that because the person who is running this company is the brother of the person who runs Axon, which is Taser, Tom Smith. So he is running this company, and, you know, I don't know how the relationship between them and how, if they get along or not, but that could, I mean, take that wherever you want to go. Right.
Yeah.
But
I think the Axon's guy name is Rick Smith. So that's his brother.
So this is his brother. Yes.
We've had Rick on the stream before. He's a good guy.
And they have other people as well through Taser, and this has helped out tremendously, right? Because Taser rolling out, again, I've been through that growth, and it was like this, exactly what you're seeing here, like this, right? Because it's very lumpy, and you know, Taser figured it out, and that the body cameras really accelerated that stock and went through the roof and cloud and stuff like that for Taser. But seeing how this stock is trading exactly like that, and having that management team that made the same mistakes and understands how to get this in front of more and more police forces and law enforcement officials. It's been a big help. It's accelerated the growth. And instead of taking 5, 6, 7 years like Taser did, it's probably going to take like 3 or 4. And we're in like that third year right now. I think you're really going to see that explosion.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely going to add this to my watch list. I like the story. The chart looks like it had some good support levels that could make for some good trades. But do we have anything else on your radar?
Yeah. Listen, I just traveled. If you're looking, I've been traveling, you know, in the US, I've been traveling internationally because it's really tough to get back in, and you don't want to get COVID because you got to stay there for another 2 weeks. But when I see what's going on in terms of Boeing, the numbers that Boeing put out were amazing. I'm not telling you to buy Boeing here. Anyone can buy Boeing, but you're seeing the MAX plane. I went to visit that facility, do a lot of boots on the ground research. I went to the Everett, Washington facility. If you ever get a chance, go there. It's assembly line of airplanes, the biggest building facility in the world. You could actually get lost for a week in there and somebody wouldn't find you. That's how big it is. I'm not kidding. The MAX plane had its problems 2019. Then we had COVID, and we've seen flights come down. Flights are absolutely jammed. The US is doing fantastic. Companies are talking about the Delta virus, saying that it's having no concerns. I just took my kids to Disney recently, to Universal Studios. It was jam-packed. And you're seeing more of these orders come in. They're going to come in because the MAX plane is the best plane on the market. It's fuel efficient. It saves a ton of money. It's going to make, and margins are going to increase dramatically, but they've had problems. Now the MAX is back on the market. You're seeing flights, no matter where you're going to the airport, they're all jam-packed. A lot of these fleets are old. You're seeing these orders start to come in for Boeing. One of the best players of a nuts and bolts company that few people heard of is called Ducommun. The symbol's DCO. It's a major supplier to Boeing, specifically the MAX planes. China, over the next few months, is expected to approve as well and go through that whole regulatory process and say the MAX is okay. You're going to see orders for these flights explode. just for the Max planes alone, the single aisles, there was 5,500 orders pre-COVID. You're going to see this thing explode now. So they're already getting a big backlog. More and more orders are going to come. And now that it's got that approval and it went through the regulatory process, and now that COVID, look, it could take 2 months, 5 months, 6 months, whatever, for internationally for this thing to open up. But you're going to open up. And these orders are coming in. Ducommun is a really good way to play it. I've learned over my 30-year career, listen, the nuts and bolts plays are lots of times are better than owning the actual stock in terms of Boeing. And a good example of that is Apple and some of the companies that supply, the iPhone, whatever, if it's Broadcom, those tend to outperform the bigger company. But this is a way to play it. It's a name that no one's really talking about. If you notice Ducommun, it is trading near its highs too. So I think it's going to go a lot higher. You see it looks like an expensive stock. It's not. It's an inexpensive stock, right? You see $60. However, this is only a $600 million company. I think this thing could really, really go through the roof as more orders come in.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chart right here. It looks like we were trading sideways for the better part of a year. Got up to some previous all-time highs of about $65. The company actually has earnings coming out today. Conference call scheduled at 5 p.m. Eastern. So
under the radar, you probably won't see reporting on your sites like Bloomberg and Briefing, or even on CNBC if you watch TV, or Benzinga and stuff like that, because it's such an under the radar company that nobody really talks about. You probably have to go in and see those earnings. I wouldn't be surprised. What you want to look at is the current earnings. We'll see. This is based on orders over the past quarter. I'm sure it's going to be a good number, but wait till you hear them talk about the future. And I think all these companies are going to be talking about the future in terms of the airline industry, the travel industry. They're all going to have optimistic outlooks because everything's returning back to normal. And you're hearing that from the companies, even with the scary part of people trying to scale with Delta and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this, I mean, I love the shovel plays. I love, as NCal saying in the chat, the thing behind the thing. One of Jason's favorite phrases, just talking about finding the things. If we're looking for Boeing to really put out more planes and stuff, we want to go to this company that's going to be able to explode more than Boeing will, because it's a smaller company, as you said. So I love the shovel plays, love the thing behind the thing. Definitely going to watch for earnings today. Adding this to my watch list as well. Again, ticker DCO. All right, so we went through RAP. We got to DCO. What's next on the watch list?
So I would say I'm going to give you a short here. A short that I like is GM. And the numbers that came out weren't as good. They weren't as good as Ford. I think Ford could be a short as well. If you notice, these companies are coming out, their numbers are better than expected because they're just super conservative from the analyst perspective. But GM dealers that I'm hearing from, and this I'm hearing from numerous sources. Again, I do a lot of boots on the ground research and have great sources, especially through my podcast, Wall Street Unplugged, have everyone emailing me all the time in different industries. But when you're seeing with GM and you go into a dealership to order a car, they're telling you they're not really taking orders right now because they can't fulfill them. And you're looking, if you want a car to your spec, and when I say you just want a car, a certain color, if you have to order it, it's going to take 9 months. They're going to tell you 4 months, 5 months. GM is a lot worse than Ford, but there's a reason why Ford and also GM are talking up their EV portfolios, because they're looking at major declines. And this is supposed to end and start getting better. And if you look at the statistics, if you look at the suppliers, if you look at the chip research and things that I look at, you're seeing that it hasn't bottomed yet. It's still getting worse. And that's going to lead to fewer orders. So what are you going to do? You're going to go into GM and say, hey, I want to buy a new car for this year. And it's 2021 and you're not going to get it to 2022. Well, maybe you want to 2022. So that's why these guys are talking about their EV portfolio, yet their EV cars are SUVs and the Mach, for Ford, they're not coming out till later on. And a lot of these aren't going to be available till after 3 years from now. Some of them will, but most of them aren't. I think it's a good short here. I can't see their numbers being that great going forward. And the company right now should not be trading, in shades of its all-time high, at least all-time of restructuring high. But you look at GM and Ford, I think they're both sells here, but GM really underperformed when you're looking at Ford's results. And the EV stuff, it's exciting. They're doing what Tesla did, where they're taking pre-orders and putting down a couple $100 or $1,000 for the car. That's kind of a sign saying that, they're looking for ways to generate revenue. The marketing teams are doing great talking about EV. And I'll be honest, I am not sold on EVs. You're asking people, someone's followed trends for a very, very long time, okay? And getting in early and going to some electronic show every year for like the last 10, 12 years, other than last year due to COVID, which was canceled, it was virtual, it was horrible. But you're asking people to do something, and it's an extra step. It's different. You're asking them to learn something new. You're going to have people going to buy EV cars, but to go all in and have your whole entire fleet, which GM and Ford are talking about, to EVs, it's a big ask when it's very easy for anyone listening to this. You all have gas pumps within a mile of your house. You can go fill up. It's very easy. This is a whole learning curve. When you make things easier for people, that's when you see wide adoption. This isn't easier for people. People have to learn how to charge their cars. What's the mileage? Where's the infrastructure going to be? What places do I have to go? Whenever you add an extra step, it's marketing 101. Whenever you add an extra step to anything, you're going to see a huge drop off in customers. These guys are going all in. I think it's a big industry. I don't think it's anywhere near these guys are talking about. And I'll be surprised if Ford and GM really, you see them 4 or 5 years ago, those numbers are going to come down tremendously in terms of EV vehicles. It's going to be, you're going to see it get adopted. It's getting adopted now. You see Teslas everywhere, but I don't see it to the point where 30, 40, 50% of fleets are going to be EVs over the next 10, 15 years. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to take a lot of time for that change to happen. It does look a little toppy here in the chart. Looks like we could come back down to this previous support level of $40. So, I like this. I like this as a trade idea, a short on G, at least in the interim, until, we see that semiconductor shortage get figured out and we can see these car companies start producing cars more in line with how they would like to.
And that's the thing. I mean, with GM and Ford, they're trading on the assumption that this is a short-term problem. And I thought it was going to be short-term. But if you really look at all the sources, all the good sources out there, it still hasn't bottomed in terms of the supply shortage, in terms of figuring out. It was supposed to be good. It's supposed to be okay and start getting a lot better. And it's not. These guys are still not taking orders. They still have plants that are shut, which is surprising. And until I get more clarity on that, it'll be better. But for now, what are you going to sell? I mean, EV vehicles, a lot of good ones aren't going to be available for a few years. That's why they're talking it up so much. It's a hot story. It's great. We see what Tesla's valuation is because of EV. I get it from a marketing perspective, but people are looking at the numbers of Ford and GM, and they just don't make sense right now.
Got it. Yeah. So we went through RAP, we went through Boeing and DCO, and now we're checking out GM as a short. Anything else we're looking at today, Frank?
That's basically it. So those are 3 issues we covered. If you listen to my latest podcast, which was on Wednesday, I covered another 20 suppliers to Boeing. And I like giving, lots of ideas on my podcast. You can go see www.wsupodcast.com. But I like giving lots of ideas out there. So Ducommun was one. Looking at all the suppliers, I think that's one of the best names. Of course, I could be wrong. There could be others. And this one might go up 20, 30% compared to others that go up 50, 60%. Who knows? But I give a list of about 20 other names, and you can really look at that. I mean, you really want to dig deep. When you find a stock that you like, you always want to look at its competitors first before you even buy that name, because you might find something that's cheaper, that's growing faster, where insiders are buying. So, try to do all of your homework. Just because you like an idea in a certain sector, there could be something else within that sector that offers a lot more value and a lot more return for your dollar. So, and that's what we do. And you'll find another 20, I think, about 15, 20 new names that we have suppliers as Boeing as good place.
Yep. And we do have that link in the chat to Wall Street Unplugged. So go check out the podcast. Frank has great research there on different stocks. We appreciate you coming on as always, Frank.
Thanks,
but yeah, so if there's anything else, again, just to recap the stocks we went over, we went through RAP, ticker WRAP. We went through Boeing, but then more of a shovel play for Boeing, which was DCO.
Ducommun, yep.
Ducommun.
And then the short GM play as a trade.
And then the short GM play as a trade.
Yes.
So yeah, some great trade ideas from Frank as always. As I said, go to the description, hit that link to go to Wall Street Unplugged, check out the podcast. And Frank, we'll see you next week.
Sounds great. Thanks, man.
No problem. All right, y'all. I see my friend Spencer Israel hanging out in the background. Going to go ahead and bring him on to see what Spencer's been looking at. Spencer, how we doing?
What up, AB? How we doing?
Not a whole lot. Just had some great trade ideas with Frank, and now I'm going to go to some things I'm looking at. So we've been talking about Palantir all day. The stock, of course, was up today after good earnings were reported. But Spencer, I'm on the sideline on this right now. I'm actually not in Palantir right now. I don't have it in my portfolio. I'm watching these levels though to see if a good trade formulates. Where you stand with this?
I've been on the sidelines the entire time. The only thing I'll say about Palantir, and this goes for any stock with a lot of retail interest or that has shown a penchant for virality in the past, is you get these earnings pops, great, but can they hold them through the end of the first day? So in this case, what do we open at today? We opened at what was our open at? We opened at 24.45, right? So we're up 30 cents from the open. Can we and we closed yesterday at 22.35. So can we close above call it $24 today? Maybe, take the low of the day. Even the low of the day wouldn't be that bad. If we close at 23.59 today, that would be at least holding some of those gains. If you give all those gains back by the end of the day today, that's not what you want to see. Like that's what happened in Clover, right? We gave back almost all the gains, and we've bounced a little bit since then. But you just want to see you have these gains, right? In Palantir, if you bought it yesterday, you're up. You're up $2, almost $3 earlier. You're up now less than that, but you want to see those gains hold. If you can't even hold day one, then like what are we doing here? Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, so looking at this, I think it will hold, Spencer, because if you look down here, you see this big volume spike. And I think Palantir, as you mentioned, already had a bunch of retail interest. And then when a stock is up this much, it just puts it more on the forefront for retail investors. So they're going to see it's up 10% today. Maybe some will be a little timid to buy it since it's already up so high today. But I think since the stock is up, people are talking about, people are going to go out and buy it more. I think we'll see this volume continue to increase. Yeah. But yeah, let's watch that $24 level. I'm going to go ahead and bet that it does close above that $24 level today. I think the bigger question is, how will this stock react tomorrow into next week? Will it hold these new levels? Will it come back down to this previous support of about $21, $22? But yeah, I mean, I don't mind Palantir as just putting in your portfolio, putting it as a long trade. This stock is obviously very volatile, so it makes it kind of tricky to trade sometimes. But it does look like it's showing some strength in the chart right here. It looks like we had this bottom rounding pattern that this could be an uptrend establishing to get back to that $27 level. So yeah, I mean, I definitely have this one on my watch list. I agree with you. Going to see how this closes today, but looking forward to see how it acts tomorrow.
Have you looked at broad market? Because we are like it's a same story, different day, right? We're at all-time highs again, like in the SPY. It literally is, and the Dow for that matter. It literally is the same story every single day. And if you're watching pre-market prep this morning, you heard Ryan Dietrich talk about August. Typically, August and September being the worst months of the year. Summer doldrums, volume is lower. But I mean,
market doesn't care.
I don't even know, man. It is, we're going to end up having, well, I guess I don't know this, but yeah, at the rate we're going, this could end up being, near a record year in terms of number of new all-time highs for the S&P 500. I mentioned that this morning. We've already had like 46 new all-time highs this year, and the record is like 77, I think. So like at the rate we're going, we'll get into the 50s and 60s. Geez, it's just one of those things. Money Mitch is lurking, I think, in the comments. He said he sold some of his DraftKings. He's got to update us about that, Money Mitch. If you're there, and if we can get to 500 people, then Mitch will come on and tell us. I didn't realize he had sold already. That was quick.
Yep, and we do have Brian Goodman, CEO of Golden Matrix, ticker GMGI, coming on the show in a few minutes. See some people in the chat talking about GMGI. So smash the like if you're here for GMGI. We will be on with the CEO shortly. But yeah, Spencer, I've also been watching Wish today because I mentioned this morning on the live trading show that since the company picked up this retail interest, that every time the stock dips to below this $10 level to about $9.50, it has bounced well off of there. It looks like from the chart that we are heading down to that level. If we hit it, I am going to put a trade in to buy some right here at
9.50. You said?
Well, 9.50, we're like almost there. It looks like we could get down to like 9 flat. So I'm probably going to put a limit order out at 9.10 or 9 flat maybe. Just try to pick some up, try to ride it back up on this trend. So we were at $15 a month or two ago. I don't want that much juice out of the trade. I would just be looking for a couple bucks. I'd be happy if I ride it from 9 to 10.50 or so. Okay. So this one has been on my watch list all day. But yeah, right now we're sitting at 9.62. It looks like. And again, I'm waiting for it to drop down a little bit further than it is right now because I think that's the direction we're heading. That's the trend. The trend is your friend. And as soon as we hit that level, I'm looking for a bounce there.
I apologize to everyone. I didn't realize Luke would be out today because I hyped up the chat challenge regarding the Wish delivery of AB's rings that we ordered. So I guess that'll be in tomorrow's show. You'll have to tune in tomorrow. Oh, wait, no. Wait, there is no.
Yeah, there is. We're doing it from 10 to 2 or 10 to 12. But
Right.
we're doing that tomorrow for Friday Fun Day.
Okay.
And guys, if you're here for GMGI, share the stream with all your other GMGI investors. Get everyone in here because we do have the CEO coming on. We've got some news that came out this morning that we broke on Benzinga Pro. We're going to talk to the CEO about that news as well as direction for the company.
Should we bring Brian on now?
Yeah, let's do it. Give me 1 second.
All right. Brian Goodman, there he is. Look, it's magic.
How are you?
Oh man, how are we doing?
Back.
How we
He's
doing
back.
today?
He's back. I'm good.
Okay, you had earnings out, and those numbers are good, but I'm more interested in this news about the gaming system. Talk to us about what this aggregate gaming system. First of all, what does that mean?
Okay, so I don't want to bore you with too much technical jargon, but it's a significant improvement to the company's already successful system, obviously, and it offers unique features which are now available in the marketplace, which are in our marketplace, and it offers, in simplistic terms, it's a seamless single integration to any online gaming operator. Ordinarily, operators look to integrate multiple lines of gaming content. So what they would do is they would look out there for some slot machine content, some sports books, lottery, casino, poker, table games, Keno, and then they would go out and they would integrate these one by one, and they would pick and choose whichever ones they thought were going to be successful. With our new system, we offer them a single integration on our already tried and tested platform, and what they get is a full portfolio of all of these games and also the different types of products. So they would get within the single integration, they would get a sports book, a lottery, casino slots, poker, whatever else I mentioned, and as they move forward, additional products, cutting edge products, would be added to this portfolio, and they wouldn't need to integrate anything further. In addition to all of that, we also provide our other modules, which have been very successful, which are loyalty products that engage with their players. It's a retention product, so therefore it retains the loyalty of all their players. It has an acquisition tool which engages new players, and also has some marketing features. And that's pretty much in a nutshell what it is. But for us in particular, it opens up new markets to us. So traditionally, we were in Asia Pacific, and that's where we've been very successful. But right now, we are pushing into developing markets such as Latin America, and also established markets like Europe, and then ultimately we'll push into the USA.
And just to be clear, the launch of this the aggregate gaming system, that goes back to the acquisition that you made in March, right? Where you guys paid what, about $200K, a little bit less for.
Yeah, so we I guess we got it at a good price. But right now it's now live. It's been launched. It has its first new customer on the platform, as well as 14 others that are lined up to go live in the next in the next few weeks. But in addition to that, obviously all our existing customers, which we have over 400 operators, existing customers on our system, will now transition onto this new platform. And then we have roughly over 6 million players that we support, which is in any technology platform, it's a serious feat, but in gaming, more so to support such large amounts of simultaneous players, and so they will transition onto this new system as well.
Can you say who's on the platform? Or
Not really. I mean, we publish from time to time who we have, and we also publish who our content providers are. So we would have world-leading content such as Playtech Limited, Amelco. These are leading sports books. Amelco is a leading sports book in the industry. It's also recognized in America because they have American licenses. Playtech Limited is one of the largest gaming content providers in the world. Well established. They're a publicly listed company in London. So as we move forward, we will announce these new operators that come on board.
We got a bunch of questions flying from our chat here. Let me try to cover as many of these as I can. First, can you provide an update on the NASDAQ uplisting? I know you filed for that. I think you filed for it last year.
Yes.
Yeah, it was late last year, and then I guess another one in March. Do you have an update for us on that?
Well, we haven't additionally filed anything. It's still the original application, and whilst we're fairly disappointed in that it hasn't happened faster, we now have what seems to be a clear path to get nationally listed, and as this, I guess, rolls forward, we'll give more information on it, but nothing sinister. It's just that, as everybody can imagine, it may be that there've been so many SPACs, so many new listings. I think since the .com era, it's probably the busiest time that they've ever experienced, and we're just working through the process with them. So
you have heard nothing from NASDAQ that would indicate there is any specific reason as to why the uplist has not happened yet?
Not at all. No.
Okay.
So no negative reason why we would not be uplisted, but on the other hand, we've been given a path. So as everybody can imagine, that they wouldn't give you they haven't given us a finite date yet, and also wouldn't give us a guarantee just in case maybe I lost my mind and did something crazy. But that's the way it works in real terms. But in answer to your question, there is nothing that prevents us from being uplisted right now.
Okay, this question, I have no idea what it's referring to, but I'm just going to ask it. Why were you in New York? Is I guess the gist of this question.
So I escaped from Australia is the answer. But I have a home in New York anyway. I own a property here, and I normally live part of the year in the US. Right now, obviously, because of COVID, it's difficult to travel. Australia has stringent travel restrictions. You need permission to leave, permission to come back. So I'm in the US right now, but I am obviously meeting with relevant people, bankers, M&A. We have, as we've told the market before, we are seeking to acquire certain I guess, accretive acquisitions, profitable businesses in the same space as us that'll add value, and we are pursuing those. And that's most of my meetings right now are potentially or around that that sector.
And here is a question. Who had it in the chat? It was regarding peer-to-peer on the platform. It was from Christopher Wentworth about peer-to-peer betting and how that applies to users on your platform.
I'm not sure what the question actually is, but we have a product that we built ourselves. It's our own portfolio of content. It's a peer-to-peer esports product that allows people to bet against each other using Xbox and whatever else. We have a legal opinion that allows us now to do it in the US, and we're just wrapping up some loose ends, and we will shortly launch this product in the US.
Shortly meaning like end of year? Shortly?
Maybe a month, 4 weeks. It's more related to payment gateways and integration items. So we're working through the integration process, but we also have a clear path there.
Okay. It seems like you've got a few balls in the air here. What is the next clear catalyst for the company?
I think the catalyst is right now in the organic business is this product that we've just discussed. It opens up a whole world to us. It opens up global markets that we've never played in, and so it will deliver. We're confident it will deliver stronger revenues and growth for the company in its organic phase. But in addition to that, obviously our way forward is to scale this company in a bigger way, and so we are looking carefully at acquisitions and things that are accretive to what we do. And I know you skipped over the most important part because it was in the press release, but what we delivered recently is a fairly big delivery. It's a $3 million quarter, and when you compare it to the previous quarter with a comparable quarter of last year, it's over 200% growth. So that's just in our organic phase, and that's without our new product, which opens up global markets. So I guess you can read between the lines. This new, we're very confident in delivering high growth and profitability with our new product as well.
Jacob Nelson in the chat. Brian said around a month approximately for the peer-to-peer, and then I don't know if we have a timeline. I don't know if you can have a timeline, Brian, on the uplist. I don't know if there's a way to know that. There may not.
I guess we have an idea. It's not something we'll publish, but it's just not. I'm not in a position to tell them people on this chat what it may be, and as soon as we can, we will publish it in a formal manner.
Okay.
So yeah, it is what it is.
Brian Goldman is the CEO of Golden Matrix. Tickers up on the screen. GMGI. Brian, thanks for coming on the Power Hour today.
I missed that. Sorry. What is that you said?
Thanks for coming on today. We appreciate it.
Oh, pleasure. And I'm always out there if you need me. I'm out, and I just wanted to thank. If I've got 2 seconds, I wanted to thank all these supporters, and they've been very loyal, and they send me emails on a daily basis, thousands of emails, and I don't ignore them. Some of them I can't respond to, but I certainly appreciate all their support, and we take on board a lot of their suggestions and constructive comments.
All right. Thanks a lot, Brian.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
All right. AB was lurking in the background, and I guess you were talking with our next guest. Is that right?
Yeah. I see options Mike hanging out. We're going to be talking some options. Check out Mike's watch list. So yeah, excited for that. I don't know. I know Spencer doesn't like me trading options, but I love it. What can I say?
I don't not like it. I said you shouldn't. We talked about this. He said you shouldn't buy options at the rate that you do.
I don't have enough capital in my account to sell options.
Oh, I didn't know this. Okay.
So I buy them, and I lose money doing so, but I enjoy it.
Okay. Hey, as long as it brings you happiness, man, that's what life's about.
Well, it brings me more happiness when I make money on them, but
money's overrated. Happiness
rare.
is the true meaning of life. Well, let's get options Mike on here, and let's talk about being happy and making money.
What is up, Mike? How we doing?
Hey, B. Hey, Spencer. How are you guys?
Hanging in there. I'm happy. What can I say, man?
I'm a happy camper too. It took me a long time to get happy today, but I finally got happy.
Took you like all morning to get happy?
Well, yeah, I heard you guys talking about Palantir. I tried to trade Palantir with stock twice today and got stopped out for pennies both times. Almost threw my microphone against the computer and walked away. Then it went.
There you go. I do see we have your screen pulled up. Do you want me to go ahead and pop that on?
Yeah,
on
go ahead.
All right, let's see what we're looking at today. Whoa, we're looking at a lot. I see Amazon, Tesla, Boeing, Netflix, Square, NVIDIA, a lot of the big names.
Well, it's been a weird day. So, I mean, let's just start off here and look at the first of all, the SPY's at an all-time high here today, guys. And We were opening at an all-time high, and if you look at the 5-minute chart, all they did on the open is said, let's go screw it, everybody. Let's dip us back down and see where the buy the dip buyers came in. And here we are at an all-time high. The problem remains, to me, is the Qs. The Qs here are, a little strengthening up now, but we went all the way to the 21-day today before we bounced back to the 8-day here, and it's showing a little bit of problems. And we're kind of going back and forth between this on-again, off-again inflation trade, right? Bonds were going down, rates were going back up the last couple of days, and you saw the banks moving and everything go back into that. But, starting this morning, they suddenly said, maybe we should get some tech back. We've been ignoring this now for 3 or 4 days. We need to go back into it. And lo and behold, Qs are back up. This market, if nothing during the summer, is entertaining. Can I use the word entertaining? Entertaining.
Sure. Why not? Why not?
But, for me, this market, it's about paying attention. I was doing nothing today. And then, it's about paying attention to a name like Tesla. And you got a pop and you got news of UBS doing a rare intraday price target increase on the name and raised their pricing. And that provided a catalyst. And for me, I made some nice money on this, grabbing in the 7-11 just before this, the 7-10-50 area, somewhere in that range. And I got out too early, but I got stopped out my last piece of it somewhere in here, and then it went. But you got a nice move up to 722. Problem with Tesla is it kind of remains a little bit range bound right now, and it needs to get above 724. And one thing I always tell you guys is I put these notifications here. That's a gap. It's got a gap that's been sitting there. We have touched this gap 3 or 4 times now, and every time we get there, we get rejected. So when it finally takes that gap with volume, that's going to be a trade to be had.
Yeah, I mean, I look, the premiums are a little expensive for me to Tesla, but I love trading options on Tesla because it's just so volatile.
And you can trade one and make really good money.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that before in the past, but then I've also gotten burned on them. So I kind of stay away from Tesla options recently, at least. But let's see. So we checking out Tesla right now. Do you like any levels here currently, or are you waiting to see kind of how it reacts at the current level?
Honestly, at this point, I'm kind of waiting to see what it does at the current level. It has this big move up on the 5-minute. I had a daily resistance line here around the 721 area, just below it. And you can see how it went above it briefly, came back, and now it's kind of stuck. So for me now, the next trade is if it gets above 724 with volume. And I think that's the important thing is it needs volume, right? You can see here, it's been sitting here. You can see how many times it's come up and touched the 724 area and it can't get in. And when I say volume, it's, you look at today's okay volume so far, a little bit more than yesterday, but it's not special. These type of days in here, when you see the volume this high, these are the days that are special volume.
So you think if we do break that 724 level, we'll see it run a little bit higher up?
Yeah, I mean, I think it can run quite a bit at that point if it wants to. So you have to go back. You have to look at the gap here at 724 and say the first place, if I get into it, well, you can have two resistance. You're going to have the low of the wick, right? The tail on that candle at 732.61, but the cap closes at 738.20. So that's your first spot. So I think that's the easy spot to go to. You get a fill there. And then if it gets going above there, it can really start to break out. And again, look at this pattern. We broke this long, you look at the pattern on the chart, you had this long downtrend in here. We broke above it. And now we've spent 2 weeks going sideways, frustrating everybody in this market, right? If you're a bear or bull, it's burning premium. And the one thing I would encourage everybody out there, if you're learning options, is you do not want to sit in options on a stock that's burning premium because that's just going to keep decaying away. You're going to be losing your money, especially short-term options. Weeklies or 2 weeks out, they're getting burned. And some names right now are very, very good at doing that, especially here in the dog days of summer.
Yeah, I mean, I know that a lot of my options that I buy, it'll seem like they start decaying very quickly, and it's not fun to watch that in your portfolio. So you got to make sure you're, checking out the Delta, checking out the Greeks. But let's go from Tesla to something else on your radar.
Well, we have the, let's go back to what we did last week, because I still have that, here open, that SoFi trade we did last week where we did covered calls against the stock. And, here's what it looks like right now. So for me, the stock is up. It's again paper, so not in this, right? We just want to make clear we're doing this for fun to show everybody how it works. I'm up $1,269 on the stock, and I'm now down $595 on the calls I sold against it. But I don't care. Remember what I did? I sold next week's 1650 calls, the August expiration against the stock. I own it $15.96. So no matter what, right? I'm making $17 on this trade basically, no matter what. So if we go look at what's going on here on the chart, We're going into earnings tonight. This is going to be a big one to watch. This is their first earnings report. We know that there's been a lot of hype around this name. If it can push, you're looking for to push up above 1830, and then you look for start taking up towards the 20 level. What else is going on here is, remember we talked last time about, we didn't know when earnings were. It didn't seem right because of the IV.
Right.
Well, the IV has come in. And if you look at this week's options now, the IV went from 80% when we put this on last week to 220% because the market makers finally figured out that earnings were this Thursday. So what they do is they jack the implied volatility. So that's also working against me. Typically, if we were doing this for real, I would not have put that cover call on until I knew when earnings were, when I saw the IV spike. But you can see here, if you're in SoFi today and you want to take advantage of this IV, you can sell the 1750 calls right now and get 70 cents for 2 days, a day and a half.
Yeah.
That's just, that's a decent amount of protection if you're worried about it. So
right, we might need to do another crash course on selling covered calls, but we can do that at a later date. Since we only got about 10 minutes left, we can rip through some more of the stocks on the watch list, see what levels we're looking at, what kind of trades we're looking to put out.
Yeah. So that one today, we were talking about UPST. I didn't take it. I didn't like it, but UPST is another one. Had great earnings yesterday, on Tuesday night. Yesterday gave a nice candle. The thing that frustrated everybody on UPST yesterday is that it dipped real hard. At the end of the day, it came back. So that put it on the watch list today. And now you get this nice move up here. And here's your all-time high at 191.89. And it's not that far from it. One of the things that makes this such a tough name is the options are very wide. They're very pricey. And the name whips. And, what you learn about whip is when you look how a name trades on a 5-minute chart. And, here's a candle here from 186 and in less than 5 minutes came all the way down to 178. It's just very hard to manage trades in a name that trades like this. You really have to say, I have belief in it and I want to be involved in it. So, this is not an easy name to trade, but great move. And if you like this name, to me, this one looks like it's on its way to all-time highs. I don't see much here to actually stop this at this point.
Yeah, this is one that's been on a lot of traders' radar the past couple days after that earnings report. I have Upstart on my watch list. I'm not in the trade right now personally, but I think definitely some interesting levels there.
And then for everybody talking about Apple finally broke out today. And, Apple's been making this nice wedge pattern, and it wasn't the prettiest of wedge patterns. Sometimes these things are perfect, right? You draw them, you have every little pivot point connects perfectly. But you can see this was a wedge pattern getting very tight. And today it woke up. The news out there is that IBD put it on their swing trade long idea list. That provided the catalyst. They were already pushing it pre-market. And you have this nice big move. And look at the volume already. So the volume's already up pretty good here on Apple today. That's a good sign, right? When you look at Apple, it's not a great breakout day, but volume's at 52% when you have the Q sitting at 45. So it's better than that. And you've had call and put buying all over it. They started buying the weekly 146s, 47s, the 50s, all the way up. And here's your all-time high at 150, which now suddenly doesn't seem so far away. So I'm taking tomorrow off. But if you're trading, I would be watching these, a couple of these names tomorrow. Apple I would definitely keep on my radar to see if it can get up here. No reason it can't reconnect up here at that all-time high.
Yeah, I love seeing this chart where, you see the leg up where we had multiple days in a row where it was just going up, and then it starts trading in a wedge, some consolidation, just waiting for that next breakout. So definitely looks like we have some room here to get back up to those previous all-time highs, if not break through and go a little higher. We definitely seen an uptick in people talking about Apple the past few days. So let's see, we've gone through Apple, SoFi, Tesla, Microsoft. Let's go to Microsoft.
One of the things I always look for, and I'm calling out the room, the members we all focus on, is what's acting stronger. And one of the things this morning is when you look at a 5-minute chart, and this is why I always bring it down. When the market was selling off and the Qs were dumping going down to 21-day, Microsoft was holding serve. Look at the 5-minute chart. It wasn't dipping, right? You can see how strong this was. And once the Qs firmed up, boom, you got a nice move up here. Again, another name that is now just off all-time highs. And so what you want to do in markets like this, when we get into the dog days of summer, is you want to look for names that have volume, strength, flow, anything there that's going to help give you an edge. Because that's all we're looking for, is something to give us an edge. To me, the edge on Microsoft this morning was when the Qs were selling, this wasn't. Facebook was, believe it or not, Facebook I think has been a frustrating stock lately. But Facebook was also on the 5-minute chart, was holding in a little bit better, was showing some strength, and this also led. And you end up with this today is you have this rotation back into the big cap tech. Tesla, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, even Amazon bounced off the 200-day. And this happens because they're still worried about inflation, but they figure these names are inflation proof, or they're not so worried about inflation, these names. It's the smaller names that struggle, your growth names, your Palantirs of the world, because they're much more prone to higher inflation. And this is why we're kind of see this rotation back into the big names.
So, yeah, I mean, I like seeing, as you're pointing out, the relative strength in Microsoft and Apple compared to the other big tech companies in the QQQ. So I like that. I like anytime, an industry isn't doing well, but a company is, you can look at it and say like, okay, it looks like there's some relative strength here. So are you looking at any particular options in Facebook?
I'm not. I just overall on Facebook, for me, you see you have this gap here from the earnings day at 365.52 area.
Yeah.
Right. For me at this point, this name is kind of stuck. It's tried this gap twice and it's failed, right? Can't get into it. So for me today, it was a day trade, but for me, other than that, that's it until it can get this gap. If it wants this gap on volume, then you have a move. Look at the size of this move if it wants it, all the way up to 373.28. So that's certainly something you should put on your radar. Again, put a notification on there if you're not watching it. You need to be aware of it. But if I really liked it and if I wanted to go long term, you could try next week's 370 calls or the 375s if you liked it. I wouldn't go any shorter term time frame than that unless you were day trading it. Then you don't want to be sitting in options. And the one thing I always tell people is, think before you sit in weekly options overnight, because one piece of wrong news, one downgrade, and you're done. There's no chance for it to come back.
Yeah, definitely risky if you have weekly options to take those into market close, because you never know what's going to happen after hours overnight. You can wake up that those options can be worth a lot more the next day, or they can be worth, nothing. So it's definitely high risk, high reward.
Correct. And talk one more example of knowing when to get out of a trade. So Snap was on my radar this week, and you had this beautiful candle here on Monday, and you had a ton of 83 calls bought on Snap. Hang on a second, I'll give you the exact ones. They were the August 83s, huge, big volume on it. So I ended up buying a bunch of the 80s. I went with the 80s for the close, and then was able to sell all the way up into strength. You see this candle? That is a get out of Dodge candle, right? And this is where you have to learn. The trade's over. The trade didn't work. And, it worked then. It paid out well. But Snap, if you look at what happened here on a 5-minute chart, here's your opening 5-minute candle, massive. Then it flagged for 15 minutes before it broke above there, looking like it was going to go. And we're all sitting, here comes the move. The next thing you know, it pulls back, and look at the next 5-minute candle.
Wow.
And this is when you see this like this happen. This is, if you're you got to get out of the way. You got to respect that this is game over. This has changed. If this thing was so strong, it never would have come in like this and come down like this. It would not have broken that flag. You might have gotten a head fake on the breakout on the 5, but it would not have broken this upper little flag it had made. And, this is where you have to be disciplined and say, I'm going to respect it. I'm going to get stopped out. I'm going to take whatever it is, instead of sitting this down over $2 now with no hope.
And do you have any levels that you think if Snap gets down to, we could see a bounce?
I mean, for me, Snap here, you're still kind of holding this area. It lost the 8-day today. That's not a great sign for it, as it's been there. We'll see how it closes. You have the gap from where the earnings from 74. It's played with that a couple times. So 72 area, if it held that might be worth it. Got to see what it does right now. Maybe it's got to play, right? This candle to me now is defining what's going on with this name, because we had you had a breakout failure. You had a engulfing bearish reversal candle, right? All the way down, closed pretty much on the lows, hammered down. And we haven't been able to take any of it back in the next 2 days. So for me, until I see a hammer candle, I'm looking for a reversal candle. I would look for a candle that trades below it like this one, takes back the previous day's low, and then it gives you some type of reversal candle at this point to look at it. Because right now, this candle for me is defining what's going on in Snap until we get a change. And, if you're sitting in those calls, you're in a lot of pain with less and less time for to recover.
Yeah, Snap is one of those stocks that just has like a unique personality. It seems like it reverses intraday all the time. So certainly a fun stock to trade options on just because it's very volatile. But I mean, I've thought it got a little expensive up here around these levels. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see it, come down off that pattern down to I can't see exactly what that previous support level was. Yeah, down around there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, Mike. I don't know if I would go in and buy puts on this, or if I should just sit on the sideline and wait.
See, everybody says, Mike, you don't short off, and I'm like, I let the market give me a reason to short, and the market on the SPY, we have these tight range candles. We can't even get into the 8 days, so I'm still looking for longs here until this market starts to get some volume. When we see these sell-offs in the morning, until we see volume on it, I'm not interested. And again, if you look at the SPY today, what have we traded today on the SPY? We've traded 19 million shares 2.5 hours into the day. When you have selling pressure, you do 20 to 30 million shares an hour. There's just no selling pressure. These little dips here, they're games, they're computers. They're, this market, I keep telling my members, is it's not trending, it's reacting, right? We get a hot PPI number this morning and they come right back with it, right? They sell a little bit. Yesterday, you get a great number on CPI and they sell on it. This market just doesn't care. It's just reacting to everything right here.
Yep. All right, Mike. Well, we have your Twitter in the description at Options Mike. You can also go check out smartoptionstrading.com. Anything else you want to leave us with today?
No, I'm looking forward to our next show. Hopefully we'll get back on that in a couple of weeks when everything calms down here. And guys, just remember it's summer. Trade smaller, trade less. Less is more sometimes.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity kind of summer when the market's still at all-time highs, but it seems a little kind of slower recently. We've been trading in a range. Good time to go through some of these more in-depth option strategies. So next time we bring that show back on, we'll do some breakdown of different strategies we can employ as traders.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
All right, you too, Mike. Talk soon.
Bye, guys.
All right, y'all. That was Options Mike. Again, his Twitter is in the description, or you can go to smartoptionstrading.com. Let me see. I got my buddy Money Mitch hanging out in the background. Money Mitch, how we doing?
What up, man?
Taking
some profits.
Yeah, you're taking some profits on DraftKings?
You know it. Look at that hourly chart. Pull up DraftKings on an hourly.
Let's do it.
This is what I've been trading it on in the last couple of days. Every live trade day, I started adding on the hourly lows, trying to attack the support here. And it has not.
So you added on this support down here
exactly
at 50. Okay. And then you took some profits here on these couple legs up.
Exactly. I was just taking profits on the legs up and trying to add on the leg down. One of the things is they had their NFTs, right? The Tom Brady's. And they're actually going to come out tomorrow also. They got another release. I think this is pushing the stock. It's helping it come up to investors' eyes. And the next thing you know, boom, boom, we're moving on up. I want 53 to hold today. If it closes above 53, AB, I think we're in the clear. And then we're looking up there towards 55 and 57 on DraftKings. Reason why I would give that target is if you measure that first boom that we get on that hourly on August 6th, it's about a 50. The low is here, and I'll just measure it out here for you guys. It's 49.95, pretty much 50, all the way up to a high there of 55. So you're talking about what there? You're talking about like a $7 move up. Let's see if we could get a even $5 or $7 move from 52. I mean, 52, $5 up, 57, not a bad move. We'll see if this one can get up there. That's what I'm looking. I just sold some at 53.40. Now I'm looking for the next sell up to 55, which would be the high right here.
Got it. Tiny Pie's asking, why am I clicking buttons? Has Money Mitch not told you the shortcuts yet? Money Mitch and I will have to talk about that. He'll teach me the shortcuts.
Yeah, right. We don't need to press buttons. I got you, bro.
All right, Mitch, I'm going to go hop over to Get Technical with Neil. I don't know if you want to hang out here and end the stream, or we can just wrap up here and the video will automatically redirect y'all over to Get Technical, where we got Jake from TrendSpider coming on. We're going to be talking charts. We're going to be going over everything hot that's moving. So yeah, we'll probably be talking some DraftKings over there too.
Yeah, man, get on over. We'll see you guys at Get Technical. I'll hang out for a little bit. I'll just burn for you guys. What do you guys think? Should I just burn? Let me burn, Money Mitch. Burning Money Mitch. It's burning in here. It's hot. It's hot, guys. It's hot. What's going on, guys? How'd you guys do today? How did the trading market? How did you guys do? Did you guys winners today, losers? Who's in the green? Who's in the red? Let me know in the chat. I want to get a little poll going here. 1 if you're in the green, 2 if you're in the red, 3 if you're in the break-even stage. I want to see who's winning. What's up, guys? Get some water. No. I don't want to get water. You know what I want to get? Money. I want some money. They don't call me Money Mitch for nothing. You got to be quicker than that. You got to grab it before it's gone. Because it just as quickly, it goes, guys. It goes, definitely. All right, guys. Get Technical should be coming on next. That should be starting up right now. I'll send you guys over to that. If you guys didn't catch the SPAC earnings before this, we went over like 12 earning reports. Check that out. And we'll see you next time, guys, on the Power Hour. I know Luke is getting a little drill action, but he'll be back, guys. Like always, smash that like. Let's get it over that 100 mark. I can't believe we didn't break 100. If it was me, I would have stopped the show, but we'll get some likes. Smash up, guys. We'll see you next time on the Power.